Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It is Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us at 8 in the morning on Monday, March the 24th. I'm Joe Callahan. That's Dave Richards over there. Good morning to you there, Dave.
Hey, what do you know?
Nice to have you here with
Good morning,
us.
Joe.
And rubbing
morning,
your hands,
everybody. Lovely day.
rubbing your hands together, Melissa Murray.
Good morning.
Trying to stay warm, huh?
Cold
It's
enough for you?
cold out there. I don't like
Well,
it.
It's
30
just unpleasant. It's going to be a rotten, unpleasant day, but
I know.
35 out.
April's a week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's my only consolation. In
second or
November,
third-
I start saying, "Come on, April."
I know you do. You do. But March is just like, okay, it gives you a little taste of spring, and then you're like, oh, just kidding.
Just
Oh,
kidding.
just kidding.
I was just kidding.
No.
You're right.
It's called hope, Melissa. It gives you a little hope that it will stop fooling around here and get down to the real, honest to goodness spring and summer.
The real deal. That's what I want.
All right. Well, speaking of hope, then, Dave.
Yes, Joe.
Because over the weekend, took a little jaunt to the state of Maine. Go visit my son.
This
Nice.
guy will do
Girlfriend.
anything to get a cup of real, honest to goodness maple syrup.
Ooh.
Oh no, I got some real good clam chowder.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, at $3 Dewey's in Portland, Maine. That's a great place.
$3 Dewey's.
It's the name of the place. Yeah.
Okay.
Was it
And-
$3?
No.
I didn't think
I don't.
so.
The $3 deals with beer.
Okay.
You can get $3 beer there. But as we're walking along the waterfront there at Portland, people were out sailing.
Well, sure
Yeah.
they were.
But these are the people that actually teach other people how to sail.
Exactly. Yes.
So it was practice time.
Yep.
So this was about. On Saturday it was about
42 sunfishes going in a circle.
Yeah, it was about 55 degrees, maybe a little less than
Not
that on
bad.
Saturday. It was
Not
a
bad.
beautiful day in Portland on Saturday. Sunday was a little different. Oh my gosh, it dropped down to 27. We had a wind chill of 8
Yep.
while we're out there, and Dave brings up the maple syrup because it was Maple Syrup Sunday over the entire state of Maine on Sunday.
Didn't know that was a thing.
It's a thing. Every maple syrup farm invites you to come and buy their maple syrup, the real maple syrup.
Yeah.
And so I don't use a lot of syrup. It would be
Yeah.
it would go to waste. But my son and his girlfriend bought a half a gallon. Melissa, how much do you think a half a gallon
Half
of
a
real
gallon.
Maine maple syrup
Tapped
costs?
from real Maine
Tapped
trees.
right out of the tree. Okay, what do you think?
Wow.
If you want to guess.
Boiled down with matches made in Maine.
with the real wood because the fires were going.
Yeah.
Probably more than $50.
No, 38,
Okay.
38 though.
38.
A
Okay.
gallon was 72. It wasn't a bargain here.
$72.
The only thing it was funny they were
72 a gallon.
they were basically handing out little plastic shots if you wanted to take a taste.
Yes.
People doing shots of maple syrup.
I gotta ask
That
this.
tasted pretty good.
I gotta ask this question though.
What do you do with that much?
Well, you don't
You
eat
save
it all
it.
at
Yeah,
once.
well, right,
you have
yeah.
a pancake breakfast. You have whatever.
Waffles and French toast.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
Okay.
You store it.
All
They-
right.
They said it'll last. If you store it right, it'll last. So,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I have to ask this question. You know how folks of my vintage are constantly, alternately amused and bothered by the fact that they can't leave anything well enough alone. The Oreos, there are now 42 different varieties
Oh,
of
my God.
Oreos.
You're absolutely right.
Potato chips are potato chips. No, I don't think Doritos. No, there's at least 6 varieties of Doritos. Just, and how many times has your wife gone to the store, picked up a bottle of shampoo and found out it was something else, but it looked just like the shampoo bottle she bought last time, and all the rest. So and the pressure this puts on the supermarkets to be able to put space up for all the different varieties.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. So I'm saying to myself, okay, fine. You're selling maple syrup. There's got to be somebody out there putting fragrance in it or putting in spice or putting in this, doctoring it up with something that didn't come from the tree.
Some people put blueberries in the maple syrup. Blueberry flavoring, I should say. Not
Is
real
that so?
blueberries. So you
Oh,
can
blueberry
get
syrup
that.
blueberry syrup was a favorite of mine as a child.
Well, okay, there you
They
go.
have it at IHOP. It's in its
Yeah.
own
That's
little
right.
dispenser.
But it's not maple syrup. It's just an alternate
Right.
option to maple syrup.
So it was just a little chilly because it was 8 degrees with a wind chill, standing in line waiting to buy maple syrup yesterday up there
yikes.
in the northern part. Well, not the real north. We were in the southern part of Maine, but it was still really cold.
It was Maine.
And then it was Maine. And then we stopped into Freeport and because you got to go visit the LL Bean stores. And I saw the LL Bean mobile for the first time live in person.
There's an LL Bean mobile.
Like the Oscar Mayer.
Yeah, right.
It's the same thing. It's a
Is it a
giant,
bean?
It's a giant boot.
Oh, it's a boot. I'm like, it's a giant
It's not
bean.
it's not a hot dog.
No,
it says
it's kind of
hot
shaped
dogs
like
and
it.
beans.
But they got, you got that LL Bean.
Oh, yeah, like
how
those.
the boot looks. It's tan on the bottom and brown on top.
Right.
Yep.
it's
Like the duck boots, right?
I'll
yeah,
I'll
it's
try
a
that.
car.
I'll
It's
try
a
that.
truck, really.
I'll try
I
that
have-
joke again then,
go
Melissa.
ahead.
So if Oscar Mayer Wienermobile got together with the LL Bean vehicle,
Yeah.
it'd be hot dogs and beans, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it would be. But I haven't seen. I never saw it up close. And but there it was for.
Okay.
That it wasn't driving around. It was just.
Let me try
there.
that joke again.
No, please don't. And boy, it's just as expensive at LL Bean. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness.
At the outlet.
Well, they had a tent set up, and then there's a store, and then there's an outlet
Right.
for the last year or whatever.
Makes you wonder if they had a store. What's the deal with the tent? You're in Maine, for pity's sake.
And the wind was rustling. Well, the tent had a lot of clothes in it. The store has a lot of product like shooting supplies and fishing poles
I see.
and camping
All
gear.
the stuff that they don't make.
So it's like a real
Yes.
LL Bean. Yeah.
Yeah, so the clothes are over there. The shoes and the equipment are over here.
All right.
And then there's last year's stuff. That's in the outlet. That's like across the street where the other
And the
outlet
pickup
shops
truck
are
with
there.
Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. So the only thing I bought was the official LL Bean dark chocolate covered almonds with sea salt.
Ooh.
Those are my
It
fave.
was a delicious
That
snack.
sounds savory.
It was.
Yeah.
It was very.
Those are
very
my favorite.
Delicious, and they sell furniture too, between couches
Adirondack
and
chairs.
Adirondack
and,
chairs,
Yeah, of course.
and
Yeah.
bowls and cups and mugs and dinner and
For,
dinette
for,
sets.
for camping or for
no.
everyday?
Let's have it at your house or on
Okay.
your back deck.
Okay.
This is for your home. And I'm like, wow, and some of it's really, really nice.
Yeah,
Wow,
I bet it is.
And then it's really, really expensive. It's like, wow, this stuff it should last a while, I guess.
And they make everything. So when I was I started off as a lab tech, and I was promoted to R&D chemist, assistant chemist, and one of the nicest things they gave me was an LL Bean lab coat. And you're just like, okay, a lab coat's a lab coat. But this one was so nice, and it had like our logo embroidered on it. It was just like the perfect lab coat.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I never knew that such a thing. I was like, wow, why does LL Bean make lab coats? But it was really nice.
There's
One of the perks of the job. I know that sounds silly, but
there's a store up there in Maine, and I forget the actual name of it. But what they do is they take they recycle sails from sailboats
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
make bags
Yes,
and shirts and,
Yep.
and make all sorts of things out of recycled sails.
that's cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
How they did it. Also not cheap, but
No.
I'm like I didn't realize this was a thing.
I love
So
that.
this is pretty so cool.
I love
that they do.
that.
And they look beautiful.
Yeah.
Out of these old sails, we'll take. Okay, this one with the hole in it, we'll throw that away. But the rest of the sail
Mm-hmm.
is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And so they make stuff out of it. So
Upcycle it.
Well, other
Yes,
things, other
that's pretty
things
cool.
made in Maine, Joe. Do you realize since 1994 you have been speaking over the radio through a transmitter assembled in Maine?
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
That's
All right.
right.
So yeah, it was a
In fact,
lovely
I went up and
time.
picked it up in 1994 and brought it back in the minivan.
We made it as far north in Maine to Brunswick, in case you
Mm-hmm.
want to know where Brunswick, Maine is. So.
I need
Or
to
if
know.
you know where it
I need
is.
to know some other landmark.
The ocean, the Atlantic Ocean was right there.
Well, okay.
It's
but
north
I
of
mean,
Freeport and it's north of Portland. So there you go.
Okay.
Oh, we saw a Maine Mariners hockey game too.
You're practically in Canada.
My daughter said that, and I said, no, we're not. And the Maine Mariners
No,
are the
because
Double A
Presque
team.
Island, then you're in Canada.
The Maine Mariners Double A team of the Boston Red Sox, and they had a very good crowd for their game on Saturday night. So that
That's
was cool.
Boston Bruins, not Red Sox.
Did I say Red Sox? That's because Red Sox start this Thursday. Boston Bruins affiliate. You're right. All right, and then they lost. But anyway,
And hope springs eternal in the
absolutely.
Red Sox nation's breast.
So over the weekend, and this is weird. Every time I seem to
Don't
go
believe
away,
it. One more year of solitude, and then we can have a good team.
every time I
There's
seem
one
to
more year
go
on
away,
the penance.
a famous person seems to pass away.
Yep.
Yeah.
It happened with Robin Williams. I was away on vacation. I went away this weekend. George Foreman dies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Now the family won't say what he died of. No, he was older, so
Yeah,
it
he
could have
wasn't
been
young,
natural
right?
causes. So, but I knew a guy that actually met George Foreman, and this guy owned a Meineke franchise. Now, Dave, you must remember. Melissa, you might not. Dave, you must remember George Foreman doing commercials for
I do.
For Meineke.
Yeah.
Yep.
You do remember?
Yeah.
Okay. And he did it for years. So this guy was a Meineke franchise owner, and all the franchisee owners came out to Vegas or LA or something like that, and they all get together and do whatever they talk about, cars and stuff. But George Foreman was there to be a speaker, and because you're a franchisee owner, you got to meet him. There was a little meet and greet afterwards, and the friend of mine is standing in line, and he can hear what the other people are asking him, and everybody's asking George the same questions. What do you think the same question is over and over, Dave? That people
I don't
are
know, Joe. What would that question
well,
be?
okay.
What do you think of the Red Sox will do
No,
this year?
no, they're all thinking, well, what's it like to get hit in the head by Muhammad Ali? It hurts a lot. So they would talk about the big fights that they had. And so my friend said, I've got to come up with something different because everybody's asking the same questions. And so when he got to go meet him, and George is ready to answer the same question over and over and over, he said, I saw you on an episode of Sanford and Son. What was it like to work with Red Fox? He said, well, George's eyes get huge. It's a completely different question. Nothing about boxing. And he went on for 20 minutes on how funny Red Fox is.
That's
and
great.
What a great time he had filming that sitcom episode. And he was just thrilled to talk about that, other than keep talking about what's Muhammad Ali really like. And then he got a nice picture of George and him, and he hung it up in his shop. And it's like, so he was always
Good
proud that
memories.
he was able to come up with a better question than did it
That's
hurt
a
when you
great
get
question.
hit in the head by Muhammad Ali? Well, of course it hurt. But
Well,
yeah, he
It
was so
also
happy he
shows
came
what
up with
kind of
something
a
like that.
guy your friend was because he thought of someone else.
Yeah,
He thought of someone else's feelings as opposed to his own.
yeah. So he said, I got to come up with something different. So that was great. And also, passing away over the weekend, Kitty Dukakis.
Yes.
Former First Lady of Massachusetts. She was 88 years old.
Yeah.
She had her struggles in life quite a bit, and came out back when Mike Dukakis was running. He ran for he was the presidential candidate in 1988, and it was back then that she had her struggles with addiction and depression. So I forgot what she was addicted to.
Booze.
Was it alcohol?
Oh, that-
was
well, at least,
her, I thought it was a drug of some sort.
In
but I
the
can't
80s,
remember.
in the 80s, it was booze, but then of course there was other stuff
Yeah.
as well. But basically, it was people were talking about it being back in the day. Mr. Dukakis might have done better in his run for president. Of course, it would have been better if he was running against somebody else too.
Well, yeah.
But because the one who won was
Bush.
Yeah,
Bush Senior.
it was his time, and he
Yeah.
was the vice president. But Mr. Dukakis, other than being somebody more closely aligned with my mom's political points of view, flaming liberal that she was, I looked at him. I says, "Geez, he's got everything he needs." He's from Massachusetts. He's got good looks. He's got a very measured demeanor. All the rest of it, he doesn't mind when somebody pokes a joke at him and stuff like that. I never met Kitty Dukakis, but I mentioned one time shortly after he went out for a debate, and when he went out on stage, I watched the debate on television. And this is just something, a little idiosyncrasy of mine. it kept bugging me that his tie was crooked.
Was it? You think someone would have straightened it before you went out
Well,
there?
the guy's running for president, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, I know it's
right.
boring if you look neat as a pin, but
still.
yeah, the tie is just absolutely crooked.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it to somebody that it was bothering me. They says, "Oh, that's right. His wife fixed it just before he went on stage."
Oh, yeah. All right, we got.
And I says, "Ooh, that's a low blow."
Yeah. All right.
But she took those, just like Mike took when people were laughing at him about putting on the helmet,
Riding in the tank.
in the tank, right? He took it with stride afterwards. You know, okay, you tried and you lost. You're going to try again. He says, "No, that was good enough."
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah. So, seriously, he didn't need it anymore. So there was a lot to like about him, a lot to like about his wife. Real people with real personalities and real troubles in the world, and they made the best out of it. And I think it speaks volumes about them both. And Kitty just kept on fighting. And having people in my family who have fought with various problems, that's the one thing that is the hardest thing to do, is to keep fighting when you lose.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. Comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240. We got a note to get to when we come back on Coffee and.
Join the Alzheimer's Association Rhode Island chapter for our free Caregivers Journey and Research Conference, Thursday, April 17th at the Crown Plaza in Warwick. Numerous breakout sessions, opportunities to connect with statewide resources, and professional respite care will be provided. Registration is required. Register today online at alz.org/RI. That's alz.org/RI.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
We're local and live at 99.5.
It's Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan along with Dave Richards and Melissa Murray. And the note that was called in, 766-1240. Completely different topic. And the caller says he's quoting Seth Magaziner. Okay. And Seth Magaziner just wants our comments on what Seth had to say. And Seth goes on to say, Rhode Island receives significant funding from the Department of Education to help students in every school district, and especially those with special learning needs, get access to the services they deserve. Mm-hmm. President Trump and Elon Musk's push to slash education funding to finance tax breaks for billionaires is as reckless as it is shameful. Okay. Stuff I heard over the weekend.
That's all rhetoric, Joe.
I know. And from what I'm hearing
if you took out one part of his sentence, it might have gotten a little bit more respect from me, like he cares.
Which one?
And that is to finance tax breaks for billionaires.
Yeah.
Didn't he say that in that stuff? Now,
Yes. Slash education funding to finance tax breaks for billionaires.
But if you listen to what Mr. Trump said he was doing, it made perfect sense. In fact, he kind of won me over on his logic. He said, okay.
We're giving it back to the states.
Right. Up until the 1960s, we were the envy of the world. Our kids were going on to do great things. But the states were running it. We put in a federal Department of Education overseeing the states and making the states collaborate with each other. And all we've done is spend more money than any other country has ever spent in education in the world forever. And now we're down near the bottom with our student results.
We're actually fifth.
What's that?
We're actually fifth in the world. We don't spend the most in the world.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I'm repeating what Mr. Trump said.
I know. I'm not correcting you. I'm correcting him.
But fifth out of 149 countries, close enough. You know. So I'm saying, but when he said that, I said to myself, that makes sense, because he's telling everybody what his rationale is for doing this irrational act. But when you listen to professional Democrats spouting things off, and they're the talking points that are given to them by the party leaders. Gotta say tax breaks for the billionaires. Gotta say this. And they mix it into the sentence. Now they lost me, because now they're being rhetorical. It's no longer a lively debate on an issue of disagreement. It is now rhetoric.
All right.
And we can do
right.
better than that.
Melissa, do you have any response to what Seth Magaziner had to say with the quote that we were just given?
I agree with Seth Magaziner. And we all know that tax breaks for billionaires are coming. But, dismantling the Department of Education, it ensures equity, right? If you leave it to the states, some states will spend a lot on education and some won't, because they don't have the money, right? You have to have your quality of your education. And I say this about Rhode Island all the time. This has been my mantra for 6 years. Your education quality should not depend on your zip code. And some places, let's use Woonsocket for example, need that help from the state to fund their education, right? Because we don't have the means to. And it's the same thing on a greater level. It's the Department of Education is there to make sure that these rules are promulgated, that everyone is theoretically educated equally. You leave it to the states, and you're going to have some states abolish public schools altogether. I guarantee it.
All right. Well, that's your opinion, Melissa.
That is my opinion.
All right, Dave. You must remember, before the Department of Education was in place, was back in the mid to early 70s, was Woonsocket getting enough funding then?
When the Department
do
of
you remember?
Education was established
No,
federally,
before the Department of Education came into effect.
when the Department of Education was formally established in the federal government, I had not yet been to Woonsocket.
Okay.
So I have no way to know.
Okay.
I was still in Burrillville Public Schools after having been in Webster Public Schools.
Well, stuff I just heard over the weekend. People complaining.
In
Well,
other words, I ain't old enough
students. Okay,
to answer that question.
Students aren't going to get the student financial aid for college, and then I hear the other argument. Well, the Department of the Treasury handles that, not education. Okay, and then people are complaining. Well, we're not going to get the milk in the schools, and they're like, well, that's from under the Department of Agriculture, not under the Department of Education. So everything there is going to be okay. So,
But the Department of Education they designate, or they dole out the loans, right? When you pay your
but I
student
hear
loan
they
back.
don't do that.
No.
But when you pay your student loan back, you pay it to the Department of Education.
A
Really?
federal student loan?
That never
I
happened to
never
me.
did.
Oh, no, a local
There were-
student loan,
there-
right?
there-
You're
there
right.
there was always go-between companies
And there are still.
that were the collection arm. But
They
it
are-
was
yes, they are the-
guaranteed
yes,
by
they
the
are
federal
col-
government.
Right, they're the collection arm, right?
Right. So I'm not buying that. And did you hear that Mr. Trump says, well, all those student loans and stuff like that. We've got a Department of Government that is just really, really good at loans. And they do it all the time, and they're going to do more of it because we're going to give them the education loans, the SBA. A Small Business Administration. It basically functions to propagate information and give loans to small businesses so that they can compete with larger businesses and maybe become a larger business themselves. So Mr. Trump has said that what we're going to do is, since they're already geared up for doing and servicing loans all the time, every day, we're going to let them do the education loans.
Okay. So, well, and they are going to keep dismantling the Department of Education. Any thoughts there, Melissa? You wanted to say?
My worry is the same. You leave it to the states, and there are some states that will completely eradicate public education and all be privatized.
Okay. Well, we'll see if your premonition comes true.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on to other things here in Rhode Island.
I don't think so.
Just a bizarre.
I don't think we're going to see very much of any change. This is a temporary situation.
Let's hope so.
I mean, let the next Democrat be elected, and hey, guess what?
We're moving on, Dave.
No more DOGE. DOE's back.
Right.
You know.
All right. So here in Rhode Island, just that bizarre story about that autistic woman who goes missing.
Yeah.
And she was missing since
They
March
had
19th.
a big community thing on Saturday. Did you see it on the TV news?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I was away, so I was.
Well, that's
it
true.
didn't-
You were out
it
of
didn't make
town.
it up to Maine. So
Channel 10 did a big thing
big
on
thing?
it.
Okay.
Well, I
Yeah.
happened to see it because I was just finished watching another show that was on that channel. And so, the big thing, the whole neighborhood came out, and they went over to the house where the caregiver was chanting at the house, "Where is she? Where is she?" And the cops didn't do anything to the caregiver.
not
Except to advise her don't leave town.
Yeah.
But then when they found
I found the woman on Sunday afternoon.
Someone found them
in Cranston.
In
someone
Cranston,
found
in a
her
car.
in the back of his car. Yeah.
and so
Didn't know how long they had been there.
Yeah.
It was a car that was parked that he didn't use.
and then they went after the caregiver.
Yes, Roberta Gerard.
Right.
Taken into custody after giving conflicting stories regarding what happened on the
Right,
day
right.
that the Delumba went missing. So she's being charged with abuse, neglect, exploitation of
Gerard
adults.
is, yeah.
Gerard is, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Abuse, neglect, exploitation of adult with severe impairment and obstruction of an officer. She's being
Lie to a
caught
cop.
sometime this
That's,
week.
that's
Yeah,
a charge.
yeah.
Yeah, that's bad news right there. So, good that the woman was found. She was alert, conscious, and she went to Rhode Island Hospital for evaluation.
Which is a good precautionary measure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So whose car was she in? Was she in the caregiver's car?
No. Somebody had a car that I guess was like an extra car of theirs that had been parked on the street for a while, and when he found her in the back of his car, and
Wow.
they said that she had been there for a while.
How'd she get into the car?
Probably it was
Well,
Did
unlocked.
the caregiver put her in the car?
No, we don't know. Yeah, right. Who knows?
Well, that's really bizarre.
Maybe she just sought refuge there because it was cold.
It was cold, yeah. So, and the door and the car was open, and so I just climbed in. Wow, this is really. It's just a very bizarre story.
It is a bizarre story, and it was
Happy ending, though.
Happy ending, glad she was
yeah,
alive.
yeah. This
For the
the assistance
neighborhood.
of flock cameras helped.
Did that help?
Yeah, it did.
Cranston's got him.
Yeah.
Kristen has them. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, when it first happened, you saw the story. Okay, she's missing, and then on Thursday, okay, she's still missing. Mm-hmm. And I saw
Yeah,
on
it's-
Friday, she's still missing. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
it's not good.
no. So once it goes a couple of days, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh boy,
Not good.
they might find her somewhere. But they did find her on Sunday, and alert and conscious. So that's good there. So
Thank
all right.
goodness.
So are things getting back to normal at Heathrow Airport? They had that big shutdown. We're not accepting any flights from anywhere. What a hassle.
Did anyone happen to see like the flight patterns of all of the planes, and then all of a sudden, and like some of them were close, and then everyone just turns around. It was like
away?
madness.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
So big fire at Heathrow in London caused disruptions at Logan Airport. Massport said several flights had to be canceled or
Yeah.
delayed.
Yeah, they will be for a while.
Passenger advised keep checking in on the status of your flight.
Mm-hmm.
A Massport spokesperson told the Globe there are about 7 daily departures from Boston to London. Wow. She also cautioned that flights later on showing on time are expected to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll quickly move to delayed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and what caused that fire at Heathrow? And has that come out? No.
I don't recall.
Amazing that it shut down the entire airport.
I was in the Atlanta airport when the Atlanta airport shut down because there was a fire.
It shut down the entire thing?
Yep, the entire thing.
Wow.
Yep, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, that is just going to cause problems all over the
I was
world.
in line for security, and then, boom.
Done.
But you know what? Prior to that, what was really unsettling, they didn't. So everyone was trying to use their phone at once, and so you couldn't get any information. You couldn't even get a signal.
Yeah.
And we were all in there standing around, and then these like armed security guards came out with their, semi-automatic weapons.
Yep.
And we're standing around making sure that nobody was causing a ruckus. And then you smelled smoke.
Ah.
But nobody knew what was going on. It was really, really, and we were in the dark. And my flight was like the last one that they called. Like, it kept saying that it was going, and I didn't know what was going on, so I didn't want to just leave. Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was insane. I never had that happen to me ever.
Not a good
Hopefully,
time.
never does.
All right, break time again here on Coffee and Comments and questions. Call them in at 766-1240. The weather forecast right now being brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation.
100% chance of rain and snow, possibly mixed with freezing rain and sleet today, becoming all rain in the afternoon. Patchy fog, too. High of 49 today and a light southeast wind in the morning. Winds gusting in the afternoon over 25 miles per hour. Little or no snow accumulation is expected today. Tonight, there's a 30% chance of some rain in the early part of the evening. Patchy fog between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Otherwise, cloudy skies overnight, gradually becoming partly cloudy overnight, low of 37. Tuesday's weather, mostly sunny skies with a high of 53 and a breeze from the west. Wednesday, 30% chance of some rain, mainly in the morning, partial sunshine later in the day, 47. Thursday, sunshine and 48. Friday, mostly sunny and 51. Saturday, partly sunny and 48. And next Sunday, a 30% chance of some rain, mostly cloudy all day, high of 49.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we have cloudy skies and 36 degrees. The Broaster House is noted for its delicious chicken and seafood. Chicken includes broasted family packs and chicken family style, but they also serve other favorites like ribeye steak, meatloaf, and hot turkey sandwich. Try their great tasting steak sandwich, always ribeye, clam rolls, and turkey clubs. The Broaster House is at 263 Pond Street, Woonsocket. They welcome small parties and collations. Gift certificates are available year-round in any denomination. For takeout, call the Broaster House at 401-762-1717.
Among the special bargains at your neighborhood Little General store are gold medal English muffins 6-pack package for only 99 cents each, while supplies last at Little General convenience stores in Pawtucket, Harrisville, North Smithfield, and Woonsocket. Little General convenience stores.
Hi, this is Pat Holland. Join me and Kevin Callahan live from the cheap seats for all the latest scores and behind-the-scenes stories. We'll bring you the game from a fan's point of view. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. here on ON, AM, and FM radio.
Coffee and on ON Radio. By the way, the weather forecast was brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They've been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at the Crohn's Colitis Foundation.org. All righty. Well, they surveyed 3,128 people in Rhode Island of where their dream burial spots are.
Who surveyed them? Who thinks about this?
Yeah, I don't dream of being buried.
Yeah.
I don't dream of anything afterwards. I've got business to do now. And I might dream
Right.
about what I'm doing here, but I have no interest in dreaming about after that. It will take care of itself.
Yeah, I won't care then.
Right.
Because
I got no worries then.
what do people want? What's people's ideal?
Island Cemetery, which is on Block Island. Island Cemetery in Block Island crowns a hilltop with breathtaking ocean views, a rustic expanse of weathered stones from the 1600s. And I'm like, yeah, the view might be lovely.
When you're alive.
When you're on top of it, when you're 6 feet under, you're looking at...
You're not seeing the same thing.
You don't get the lovely vistas.
On the side of the daisies
but
and
people don't like
dandelions.
that. Oh, it's got a beautiful view. From down there? Anyway.
One flower's roots looks like the other flower's roots, Joe.
There's Island Cemetery in Newport. A Victorian-era garden cemetery unfolds as an outdoor museum of 19th century monuments across 19 acres with views of Narragansett Bay.
Okay.
All right. And then there's Swan Point
Swan
Center
Point, I knew that'd be in there.
Providence. A 200-acre magnificent landscape on Providence's east side.
It's lovely to walk.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
You cannot take your dog. Don't even try.
Really? Is that a rule over there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you shouldn't take your... You just shouldn't take
And
your
you-
dog
you-
into
you
a
get the
cemetery.
occasional-
Yeah.
You get the occasional golf ball that airs over from the golf course on the other side of the river.
I don't. It's just a bizarre survey. And,
It's a really
and,
bizarre survey.
But people are some people they're very concerned about where they're going to be buried,
Yep.
and that comes into play. What kind of view will I have from this particular spot?
I think...
I read a historical thing in Boroville. I was reading about historical things in Boroville. A name that is in Boroville history, Pascoag history, James Inman, Inman. He was very, very well known in town, an influential mover and shaker. And when they had the Pascoag Cemetery, does anybody know where that is up on top of the hill over Main Street? Pascoag.
I've probably been by it.
Maybe.
It's on the road between Harrisville and Pascoag, and it's always been distinctive because of its really, really incredibly steep and short hill to get from where the railroad station was at the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill where the cemetery is. Something that we all knew when you're growing up in Pascoag and you learn how to drive a car.
I
Okay.
think I have been there.
Yeah. So anyway, if you are on Main Street in Pascoag and you come back around with the bargain buy it used to be, and you go down to where Pascoag Electric is now. They took over the whole property that used to be the Pascoag train station. And that's the bottom of the hill, and you're going toward Harrisville. Now you go up this wicked steep hill, and just as you're cresting the top, look to the left, and there is a driveway space between the pillars of the stone wall around that older portion of Pascoag Cemetery. And the most conspicuous, not big, conspicuous headstone is that of James Inman. And in the history book from Harold O. Potter, he was quoted as saying he chose that spot so he could see who was going by.
Okay.
I just thought that little thing was appropriate. It's too bad I had to explain it all.
Yeah.
But he chose that little plot because he's like 2 feet from the roadway.
All right.
And
Basically, I'm going to haunt you, and I'm going to keep
watch
my eyes on
I want
you.
to see
right,
who's
so.
going by. From there, he could see the trains coming and going. He
Okay.
could see the stagecoach. He could see the cars. He could see everything.
Lots of famous folks are buried in Swan Point. H.P. Lovecraft
gosh,
is
yeah.
buried there. Very small, very modest grave.
Mm-hmm.
But if you find it, you will find that people leave all kinds of writings and trinkets in front of
good.
the. Yeah, but
Okay.
it's not some kind of big monument. It's just a regular, very modest headstone.
Now, this bothers some people. I want to see if it bothers Dave or Melissa, because it really doesn't bother me. Does it bother you if you see people using cemeteries as basically recreation places? And what I mean is rollerblading, bike riding, and I've actually seen people picnicking. Now, not to go, let's pick they're actually picking a specific grave because it's a family member.
Yeah.
And they go and they lay out a blanket and decide to spend some time
Yeah.
with family members.
Yeah.
Does that bother you when you see people just using it as recreation?
It doesn't bother me. Like I said, I think it's just more important that you don't allow anybody to. And I'm a pet
And you're a
person,
dog- you're a
right?
dog person.
But like you start allowing people to bring their pets in, you looking the other way or whatever. Like you just don't do that. Dogs don't belong in there. But yeah, I mean, I have
Do you
seen.
have a feeling about cats?
Well, I mean, you can't control.
Iguanas, small reptiles.
I mean, probably.
All right.
not.
There's
no
Anyway,
pets all
right,
over.
right.
The point I'm trying to make is someone's idea of appropriateness varies with their
That
personality.
is true, and perhaps
Because the
you own the
rollerblading would be over the top for some. Others would say
Yeah, the ro-
celebration of life. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why the rollerblade. Maybe it's just because rollerblading is a weird thing. But like,
Keeps them off the streets and won't get hit by cars.
Yeah, but I get the picnic thing, or just sitting there on a blanket, like near your loved one's grave. Yeah, no problem there. No problem there.
Just don't disrespect the
right.
graves. That's all.
Mourn however you need to.
All right.
Right.
Dave, you okay with it?
It's private property, and it really depends on the association that owns the property and manages the property on behalf of the departed's families. So it ain't none of my business what they do in that cemetery. It's private property. I mean, unless they want to disrespect, then I'll have an opinion. You shouldn't ever disrespect the
some
grave
people say
of
that.
another human being.
Well, some people say that if you're having fun, I guess, and you're recreating in the cemetery, that automatically is disrespectful.
Again, that's a matter of personal taste.
Well, that's right.
It
Somebody's
is.
personality will govern how they feel about that. Long hair in 1965 was a rebellion, and
disrespectful.
everyone had an opinion. Oh boy, long-haired hippies! No, we wanted those clean-cut American kids,
Yeah.
and the rest of that stuff. But times change, and now instead of the wringing of hands and the gnashing of teeth at every wake you go to, and people collapsing in grief at the graveside. I imagine it still happens. Some people may be comforted by that. Other people may be disturbed by that. Be that as it may, now you see over and over again celebration
Celebration of life. Yeah.
and you have maybe a little decorum where the departed is laid out. But if there's another room being used, or the back of the room being used in the funeral home, you're going to hear the occasional belly laugh as the people get together and enjoy each other's
Reminisce
company.
about stories
tell
about the
stories.
person,
That's
and
right.
yeah.
All of those things.
I tell people
Times change.
my father's wake, boy, that was a party. It was loud and
And that's how
boisterous.
some people want,
And just
right? They want to
laughter.
be remembered
I said,
that
boy,
way.
my
Yeah.
father would really have enjoyed this.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I will tell you a story. When I was old enough to take my bicycle and go farther than just down the street,
Yeah.
I must have been a tween. I don't know. However old I was, 12 or something, 11, however old I was, I rode my bicycle to the cemetery where my grandmother was buried, because I wanted to visit her grave, and I didn't drive, and I wasn't able to just do it whenever I wanted to. So I took my bicycle down there, and I put a little kickstand up, and I was sitting in front of her grave, and the groundskeeper came out and yelled at me and told me to go home.
Because you were a kid.
Because I was a kid and I had my bicycle there. And I mean, I was in tears. I was so upset. So you never know.
You're right.
And I don't think I went back again. Well, I never went back with my bicycle. I waited until I was old enough to drive, right?
Yeah.
But all I just wanted to do was just like visit my grandmother's grave. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, it is.
I was devastated. I didn't understand what was going on,
I
right?
will, to this day, I will ride a bike over to a cemetery that's in my town. And I don't know anybody that's in there. But as a hobby, I guess, I like reading gravestones.
Yeah, I do too.
When were people born? When did they die?
It's fascinating. It's
this one
fascinating.
only made it to 8. I wonder how they died.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating. Then
It
you
is
see the big
fascinating.
Mausoleums, and there's all sorts
Yep,
of family
yep,
members
yep.
in there. I was like, wow, that's just
It's history,
it
right?
is history right here.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Of your
sometimes
town, of
sometimes you
your-
get the big headstone, and then there's little ones.
I know, right?
Next to it, it's a whole family thing. It's like, wow, I just find it fascinating. So, and Dave, you brought up Burrillville a little earlier. The Glendale Bridge in Burrillville is closed. Is going to be closed temporarily, although it's already started.
I get their updates at the Rhode Island DOT every Friday. I don't remember seeing this one. I knew that there were some bridge closures coming up, but I don't remember seeing them make as big a deal about it as they did this past Friday, because they were just about to close it.
Yeah.
And so I looked at it and said, oh, gee whiz, that's something. Now, this is a pretty easy bridge to know about.
Yep.
It's the one between where Johnny's Clam Spa used to be, and then Johnny's Clam Spa moved to.
Yep.
Which became Bella's and Gigi's and all the rest of that stuff.
Oh yeah, GG's.
You remember Gigi's, right? Bella's is there now. But originally, Johnny's Clam Spa was in the building that used to be the Glendale Post Office, a little round building over near the oil tanks across from the gas station. So there's a bridge in between over the Snake River and Clear River, I'm sorry, Snake Hill Road in Clear River. And that one there has been decrepit for quite some time and been structurally deficient for quite some time. And, you know, its lottery number came up. So now for the next 4 months, they are going to go wicked fast on replacing that for this reason. They have to.
Okay.
Because they've got to get it done fast. It's not a very big bridge, but everything about it is wrong. Doesn't have sidewalks, and it's one of the really old ones. So that one right there, they said, well, we've got Broncos Highway for a bypass, so that's what we're going to use. Broncos Highway for the bypass. Fine. 4 months, we got it. New one, we're all set. They're doing a fine job with repairing these bridges and stuff. Although, you know, I heard you talking the other day about the Menden Road over 295 bridge.
Yeah.
I saw people working on that.
Oh, there've been people there for months.
Yeah.
Maybe years.
I see difference when I go
Maybe
there.
years.
See, if I send something to my daughter, I use the UPS store
That's over there.
So
Okay.
I see that bridge,
Okay.
and I see, you know, market
Progress.
changes. Yeah,
Okay.
I see progress all the time with it, and there's always somebody working there. I don't recall a time going by where I didn't see any workmen
Okay.
or ladies.
All right, break time once again here in the Coffee AM program, but more still to come. And you can call in your comments and questions at 766-1240.
Hi, this is Steve Peluso, owner of Peluso Precision Automotive in Mendon. Since 2017, Peluso Precision Automotive has been your destination for auto care, transmissions, and general classic car repair. I've had a passion for classic cars since I was born, and I started hanging around a gas station when I was 7 years old. Plus, I have more than 40 years of experience repairing the classics. So if you have a 53 Bel Air, or a 67 Mustang, or a 71 Dodge, and it needs servicing, bring it to Peluso Precision Automotive, 93 Blackstone Street in Mendon. Peluso Precision Automotive is your vintage car specialist, so give us a call at 508-478-8900. And remember the number, it's 508-478-8900.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from,
We can be twinsies.
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
It's time for the 15th annual Breakfast with the Saints at the St. Anarton Cultural Center on Sunday, April 27th from 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Enjoy a delicious breakfast buffet under the center's magnificent frescoes. Tickets are $20 in advance or $25 at the door and are available at Belo's Flowers, Creative Impressions, The Honey Shop, Pine Swamp Place, Timeless Antiques, Vaux's True Value Hardware. Visit the St. Anarton Cultural Center website, or to reserve a table, call 401-486-9380.
It's Coffee Ann here on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Melissa Murray. And
I didn't know you could leave a message with Ring cameras.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can, huh? They'll record you.
Yep,
Usually
I do it all the
door
time.
just buzzes and I can go in.
Yeah, I do it when I'm canvassing. I say, you know, I do my little spiel. I show them a card and I say, I'm going to put this in your door. And I do.
Yeah.
So then they...
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Well, anyway, I just dropped the box
Dave dropped
down.
the package off that was delivered
And
incorrectly
then I
here.
went up and turned around in Henry's. By the time I came back, the package was gone. So I think they were home.
So, yeah,
They
that
just
happens
didn't
all the
want-
time.
They didn't
People
want to be
don't-
bothered.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Stranger
Okay.
danger. Stranger
well, I mean,
danger.
they don't know me that well. So.
I have the same thing happen to me. I put the thing in. I leave them a message always with the Ring camera. I assume everybody has a Ring camera. Most people do. And even if it doesn't come on, if I ring it, I'll just say like, hi, and then like, oh, hey, I'm going to put this in your door so people don't think that I'm some weirdo. And then, yeah, but then
Not just any weirdo. You're a senator weirdo.
Yeah, I'm a senator. I like that. And then I'll go by on the other side and I'll see that they've taken it out.
Yeah.
They just didn't want, people don't like to answer the door anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, that's all right.
Here's a question for you, Melissa. What's worse than abusing your dog?
Oh, gosh.
Abusing your dog when it's a service dog.
Oh, no.
This is a terrible story. And this happened in Boston.
Why would you do that?
This allegedly happened Tuesday at the Ashmont station of the MBTA Red Line. Boston.com reported that Boston Transit Police said this woman dragged and punched the dog several times. It's her service dog. She was arrested. Dog was placed in the custody of animal control.
Good.
Why? I don't know
Who
why.
punches a dog?
Lousy service?
Who punches the service dog? They're doing a job for you.
Why would you?
Oh, were they?
Well, maybe that was it. I don't know.
Oh,
Dumb
boy.
dog.
Well, now they can't be a service dog ever because now they're going to be fearful and they can't ever help anybody else. But hopefully they find a good home.
Well, let's hope so. All right.
And hopefully she never is allowed to have another animal.
Service animal, yeah.
All right. Well, young people who partake in marijuana are more likely to have a heart attack. It's a new study found that people under the age of 50 who consume marijuana are about 6.2 times more likely to experience a heart attack than non-marijuana users. I don't know. Can this be directly attributed
It's all
to the
those
marijuana
snacks.
use? Cookies. All right. The study also shows young marijuana users are more likely to experience heart failure and an ischemic stroke. Ischemic? All right. The lead researchers say that until there is more solid data, he advises people to try to regulate their cannabis use. Let's cut it down to once a day, okay? Or once a week or whatever. So,
Too much of anything is not a good thing.
Okay. Well, how much is too much?
I don't know.
All right. Be glad you live here in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, okay?
Okay.
Because
always am.
Because you just never know. Fresno, California, they're dealing with a large, destructive water rodent that has invaded their town. The nutria, and if you want to go look it up, Nutria, is a native to South America.
Yeah.
It's a semi-aquatic animal. It's a cross between a rat and a beaver, and it weighs about 20 pounds.
Ooh.
It's a good size animal.
Okay.
And it can consume up to 50 pounds of plants every day, above the ground and below the ground. It destroys plants, crops, and any fragile ecosystems. And no word if it has any natural enemies.
Right, because it doesn't belong here. So somebody had
Looks
some
like
and
he's
they
making a few natural enemies.
Yeah.
Well, besides
the ones who own
humans.
guns, yeah.
So
But-
somebody decided they were going to have an exotic pet, and then was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, no, he'll be fine if I just let him go."
It's getting bigger and bigger.
We can't keep a stick
no.
of celery in this house since we brought that nutria in.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say if they attack humans or if they stay. Are they scared of humans?
No,
or
I think
anything
they're
like
just
that. But
they-
weird that that it can live on the land. It can
They'll
live in
make
the water.
something up. They'll make
It does
something
look
up.
like a beaver.
Does it? Okay.
It doesn't
Melissa looked it
look
up
like a rat.
on her phone. to
Looks
see.
like a beaver.
More like a beaver. Does it have the flat tail like a beaver does?
I don't
Well, I
think
don't
so.
know.
I
It
can't
doesn't look
tell.
like that guy up on the wall.
Not the beaver.
Signed the photograph for Gary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what they're dealing with out there.
Long tail?
Long tail.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a beaver.
It does look like a beaver. Well, I wonder how you can tell the difference. Well, the Pope's out of the hospital.
That's good.
How about that?
I know.
Back at the Vatican, he released from the hospital on Sunday.
Yeah, but he's under strict doctor's orders.
Oh, sure.
He's not going to be up to a regular schedule for 2 months.
He made a brief public appearance for the first time in more than 5 weeks, waved to the crowd from the balcony at the hospital. The Pope smiled, greeted the cheering crowds, and said thank you all before being taken back inside. Minutes later, he could be seen waving from the back seat of the car as a convoy left the hospital for the short trip back to the Vatican. Do you think he'll quit? Do you think he'll step down like the other Pope did?
I don't know.
Just because his health is just not up to par what it used to be, and maybe I should step down. Like, since that, I can't remember that Pope's name, that stepped down rather recently. He has set the precedent. Okay, it's okay to do this now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I can almost picture him, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, right.
Should be, because he made history.
Well, there's always
Such
a
a
lot.
personal decision, right?
There's always a lot of gossip around stuff like that. My personal feeling is that this Pope, if he minds his P's and Q's for the next couple of months, will probably be able to fill out the rest of the year, and God willing, into the next.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sense any sort of in any of the messages. I don't get any sense that he may be looking to retire. I really don't.
Not yet. Yeah, you're right.
So,
but he is 88.
Yeah, and this is the problem, of course. We see it happen in our own families when people get to a certain age, and a particular illness, which may have happened at any point in their life, happens at an advanced age, and it knocks them a little lower than it normally would have.
Mm-hmm.
And if they get some other malady in the meantime, or if they don't recover well from that before they get the next thing that will normally happen to anybody, now they're so low that it's difficult to come back. And we've all lost people in our families that were doing just fine, got a little sick, should have come back from it,
and didn't.
Got sick again before they did come back from it. And that took them down to the point where they really couldn't struggle back.
All right. We'll see if any big corporate sponsors want to step forward and help out here.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't believe this.
The White House is searching for corporate sponsors for the upcoming Easter egg roll that takes place on the South Lawn.
What I didn't know is that they never, ever use taxpayers' money for the annual Easter egg roll at the White House.
The event first took place in 1878, funded without taxpayer dollars. The American Egg Board took care of it back then.
Unfortunately, the American Egg Board now isn't what it used to be.
Probably not. But will Delta Airlines step up? Or,
they really don't.
Hey, let's just make it corporate,
Really don't want to be sponsoring anything after this last artificial shortage that was put together by the egg people.
Yeah. Well, it'll only cost, by the way, and depending on how much you want to give, between $75,000 to $200,000. You get your logos and you get branding opportunities. All of your sign will be on the fence.
Yeah, let's. Yeah.
So I'm thinking
sign
maybe.
On the fence of
well,
the White House.
I mean, the president has so much money. He's a millionaire, billionaire, or whatever he is, right?
This
Why can't he
president, not all
just?
presidents.
I'm sure he could.
Theoretically, people say that he has all this money, but he never pays for anything. Why can't he just, out of the goodness of his heart, or Elon Musk, who's like one of the richest people in the world, he could just
it doesn't say
altruistically pay for it.
True,
and make all these children happy.
Maybe they've always had a sponsor, and up until this year, and this one now it's dropped out, and they're just looking for another one.
Well, maybe, but I never saw any other branding like.
Well,
just do it out of the goodness of your heart. Like, you don't have to brand the eggs of the. Just donate and be an anonymous or non-anonymous, but like don't brand everything. That's.
I don't see Bud Light stepping up to this.
Silly.
All right, Melissa, you're a Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
All right. Gen Z is currently feeling the financial squeeze because they're on track to be the wealthiest generation by 2035.
Gen Z is.
Yeah. A new report from Bank of America predicts that Gen Z will be the wealthiest generation in history in the next decade. Don't you make you feel proud?
Because of all the inheritances from baby boomers and the generation after the baby boomers.
Does it say that? Oh, they do
yes,
say
it
that.
does.
Oh, okay.
The two largest drivers in the economic rise are wage growth and the great wealth transfer.
Yes.
Here you go. It's estimated by 2045, around $84 million will be passed down from seniors and baby boomers to Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z, with Gen Z taking 38% of that inheritance. So make
the
sure
grandchildren.
Make sure you tell your parents not to spend your inheritance.
You know what? Spend it now. That's what I say.
No, they should.
Yeah, they should. You earned it. You worked.
Go on trips.
Spend it.
My parents
we'll take the leftovers. Use whatever you want.
Use it all.
In case you're wondering, Tiger Woods and Vanessa Trump are a thing.
Oh.
They're a thing?
Well, they're a couple.
Yeah, that's not even good English.
They're a thing, yeah. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's what the kids say these days.
Yeah,
they're a thing.
They're an item.
They don't say that. They don't say that anymore. Tiger
They're
Woods,
going steady.
They're
I
a
don't even know
couple?
if they say that anymore.
No, they don't.
Tiger Woods and
Nobody
Vanessa
does.
Trump are making their relationship status public.
They're going steady.
Rumors have been swirling for a while now that the billionaire golf legend and the ex-wife of President Trump's oldest son, Don Jr., have been dating. Now there's no mistaking it. Woods posted photos of the two together on X over the weekend. "Love is in the air," read part of the caption, which added, quote, "We look forward to our journey through life together." And someone's got to push him around in his wheelchair. He's got such back problems from all the golf.
And that
like
accident.
And the car accident. Yeah. All right. That'll do it for the show for today. Thank you very much for listening in. Always appreciated. Melissa Murray, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And Dave, thanks for sticking around as well.
Yeah, a pleasure, Joe. Did I hear Leslie Page enter the building?
You sure
Yes.
did.
All righty then. She's in the building. She'll be here with our look at the library in just a few moments.
Followed by Food First with Karen Zangari. Replay of the Tiki Bar tonight at 6. Right here on
It was a good
ON
one,
Radio.
too.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. Two men from New Bedford, Massachusetts